this is Ronnie with Bookfull, and I'm really excited to bring to you today our Instagram tutorial. I think that this definitely a platform that a lot of hospitality is starting to use and will be using because travelers are there. So let's go ahead and get started. We're talking about Instagram and how you can navigate Instagram like a pro. There's a lot to the platform, even though it is kind of simple. So let's get started. Let's talk about why you need Instagram. So if you're like a lot of people, you have been on Facebook for a while, you have your Facebook page, and it was doing great. You got to people were engaging, all of those kinds of things. But probably within, I'd say, the last year or so, you're starting to notice it's like crickets over there. Your engagement's down, people aren't interacting with your page anymore. You're lucky if people even see it. There are a couple of reasons for that. One, the Facebook algorithm does not favor posts from business pages as much as they do personal pages, and that's because they're a public company. They've got to make money, so they want you to buy your ads. But also because your people have moved. They left. Facebook has gotten to be so convoluted in some ways for a lot of people. While it's still an extremely great tool to stay connected, to inform people about stuff, to share ideas, and to engage with people, they have shifted a lot of their stuff, and a lot of people have been like, I'm kind of over it. I'm going to keep it, and I still have my page and I still have my profile because, everybody's there and it's a great way to keep in touch, but they've left. They've moved, and they've moved to Instagram. The one great thing about Instagram is owned by Facebook. So they're still connected in a way. It's just a different platform to navigate. We're also going to find that a lot of younger people have moved over to Instagram because the platform is just visually easier to see and follow. And it's not so complicated with ads and chats and, sidebars and left bars and all kinds of stuff. So we want to talk a little bit today about how can you navigate Instagram and how this is going to be beneficial to you and your company being in the hospitality industry. So with Instagram, there are 500 million active daily users. So while yes, it is a smaller audience than Facebook, it is more active than Facebook and definitely in a younger demographic. So whereas you might not be getting a lot of engagement on your Facebook page, on Instagram, you get a lot of engagement. People want to interact with you. They have time, they can see it, and they're still there. There's 500 million people, still a lot of people. The other reason as to why they're moving to Instagram is it's just simple. It's a single feed that you scroll through on your phone. It's more organized. There are options for planning. It's just a simpler platform to use. It's also a visual platform, and people are so visual today that they want to see pretty images, they want to see short clips of videos, and video and images garner more engagement. The other reason too is we're finding that users of Instagram are actually more positive than they are on other platforms. I don't know about you, but at some point in time we get a little bit tired of all of the, political and negative advertising or stories that follow us on Facebook quite a bit, and then people chiming in. Everybody's got a voice there. Everybody has a voice everywhere in social media, but on Instagram it tends to be less negative. A lot of Instagram, granted, there are trolls everywhere, don't get me wrong, social media trolls are out there on every platform, but generally Instagram does seem to be a bit more positive and it's not bogged down with a bunch of jargon. So some stats on Instagram. While Instagram's user base is smaller in size compared to Facebook, your people are 400 times more engaged than your Facebook audience. 400 times more engaged. So engagement is definitely happening over on Instagram. So 38% of users check their Instagram profile multiple times per day. So they're actively there and they're there all day long. 34% of Instagram users are millennials. So that age group would be at about the age of 38 to 9 this year, almost to the 40-year-old, down to 25. So we can talk a little bit about that age group. Millennials right now are spending more on travel than any other generation. They like to travel, they like experience, and they spend more on it. Millennials, that generation can also be broken up into a couple of different smaller segments. So your older millennials that are in those late 30s generally have young families. And so they're in a different life stage than the, say, 25-year-old millennials who are still kind of, just entered the workforce, probably, still in the experiencing life stage. So you have these two kind of different segments within that age group. And as travelers, you'll find that they're kind of different. Your older millennials are going to want very family-friendly accommodations, and those younger millennials are going to want a lot of socialization and being in the middle of the action. So that's something to consider when you're looking at targeting specific age groups, and millennials in particular. 75% of users that see a brand on their Instagram feed take action. So they see an ad or they see a brand post something on Instagram, and 75% of the people that see it take an action. Also, a lot of people are discovering new products on Instagram, whether that be through posting or following brands or ads on Instagram, because you can do ads on Instagram. They find new products, they find out about new products, and then they go and take action. So this is some really solid statistics as to why Instagram is so important for your business. So there are a few things to consider when you're looking at Instagram. There is a difference between a personal account and a business account. So your personal account, is very much you get on, you sign up, you use your name, those kinds of things. A business account, you actually is a brand, is your business. So you have to start your account as a personal account, and then you switch it to a business account. I'm a big fan of business accounts only because you get some extra benefits. Within a business account, you get your insights, which you don't get in your personal account. So you can learn what content your followers are engaging with and what they like and what's showing up for them. You can also use the ads platform and promote your Instagram posts on Instagram, as well as you get some third-party integrations for scheduling posts, which is a whole nother topic for later. We can talk about that a little bit at the end. I'm going to mention that. But I'm a big fan of switching everything over to your business account just because of the analytics that you get. You want to know what people are engaging with. And how many people are seeing your posts, how are they saving them, all of those kinds of things. What hashtags are working for you, that kind of stuff will happen in your insights. There was a bit of a rumor going around that you were getting shadow banned if you were a business account versus a personal account and your engagement was better on personal. There actually have been no statistics that prove that. I've had both accounts, I've tested both. I see no difference, so there's no point in not having a business account so you can have those insights and to be able to use their ads platform to be able to promote any posts. So we're going to start with the first impression, the bio. So on Instagram, your bio is on your personal profile. It's that short little blurb that you have just a few sentences to be able to tell people what you do. So a bio is actually extremely important. It's your first impression. It's your elevator pitch. So think about it. You get into an elevator with Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Instagram. What are you going to tell him? What are you going to say to him in that elevator ride? So you want to tell people who you are and what your business is, what you do, who you do it for, and then your call to action that you want them to do. So I know that everybody gets very excited about, I have this thing, I do all of these things, and I want you guys to do all of it. Sign up for this, this, and this. That's kind of not how call to actions really work the best. People get very overwhelmed when they have too much to do. So what's the one thing you want them to do? So the one thing you want them to do is to sign up for your newsletter. Then that needs to be your call to action. And then you start your funnel from there and you guide them through how they interact with you. If you want them to book now, then that's what your CTA needs to be. You need to say, this is who we are, this is where we're at, this is who we're here for, book now. The other little section that's also in your bio are your links. This is the one opportunity for you to have a link in anywhere in Instagram outside of IGTV. It's in your bio. You cannot put links in your posts. You cannot add links into your Instagram stories unless you have over 10,000 followers. You can put links in your IGTV descriptions, but as far as your bio and your posts are concerned, this is your one spot. And so in that link, and this is the only link you have, you're going to want to put that most important link that drives to your CTA. So there are a couple of different things you can do here with links. There are a few options out there like Linktree or link in bio that is one link to you that is your specific URL that you can then have basically a page that has multiple links to it. Like you can put in your website or your latest blog post or your book now link or wherever you want, what those links you want. Give them multiple links in the link tree or the link to bio. Personally, we use Linktree at Bookfull. I also personally just use Linktree. It is a free account. You can upgrade to Pro and you get some extra design benefits and a few other things, but a free account works perfectly fine if you want to use a Linktree. You could also create your own Linktree on your website if you're that advanced. If you have a website and you could design it, have the links you want, and then put that one link into that link in your bio. A little bit more advanced on, how engaged or how involved are you with your website. But that's your one option. The one thing about posts is people are used to, you don't have links in your posts that people can actually click on. So they're used to you saying link in bio when you're talking about something. So that bio is super important because when you get a new audience member, the first thing they see is that bio. They see your picture and your bio and what you do. And you want to be very clear on what you do, who you do it for, and what you want them to do. So here are a few examples of good and not so good bios. So the top one we have here is Expedia, which you guys should all know, hopefully. In this one, I know exactly who they are, what they do, and what they want me to do. They also, you can see, use a link tree. So if I click on that link for Expedia, it opens up multiple links that I can go and do different things. But I know exactly what they want me to do. They want me to discover and book. And so I would click the link, see all their links, go to their different blog posts or their book now, whatever they have in there. I didn't check on that, but that's a great bio. I know exactly who they are and what they do. On the other side here, I have one that is not so great. I'm a little confused. I see that they're a digital creator, but it's got a little phone icon and then it says email inquiries. So am I supposed to call or am I supposed to email? And then there's a bunch of hashtags. While hashtags are actually very good in your bio, they do help with searches. This is a little much. I don't get it. Their CEO, host, what? I don't get it. I don't get it. As well as then the link that they have is this super long link. It takes up 2 lines. It's just too much. I just don't get it. Not good. Again, here are a few more. A good one, Vacasa actually, has a great bio of I know who they are. Up there where it says Vacasa and then a / vacation rentals, that's actually in your bio when you're filling it out, your name. So you don't actually have to put just your name. You can put what you do if you want to. So it's actually really nice here that they have their name and what they do. You can see that they're a property management company. That's what they've checked as. You get Vacasa as a one-stop shop for all things vacation rental. And you see with them, they have built their own IG Linktree page. So it's vacasa.com/IG. You open that up, it's got multiple links, but they built that themselves on their website. So I get exactly what they do. On the other side here is a gym, and the thing that is hard for me on this particular bio is I see that they're a gym, it's physical fitness. I don't know what fitness balance is. I see their 2 hashtags, not terrible, but then there's a line and there's no call to action. I see a phone number, but you're not telling me I need to call for anything. I don't know what to do here. I don't get it. That's the big thing with bios. You need to be very clear as to what you're doing and what you want people to do. So let's move on now to your posts in your feed. So your posts in your feed is, when you get onto to Instagram and you're scrolling through, that's your feed. That's your personal feed. You want to show up in other people's feed. So it's your homepage per se. So this is the bread and butter of Instagram. It's one feed. There's no multiple sidebars or anything. One feed. It's an image with a caption. If you double tap it, it likes it. You can hit their profile so that you can go to their profile, see who they are, if you want to go to their link, whatever you want to do. With this, it's very straightforward. The big keys are your photography has to be great. Instagram users do love really great photography. They like things to be real and, display who you are, but dark yellow camera phone photos don't cut it here. People don't like them. They want really great high quality photos throughout. It's a very curated album of sorts. So I get the big question for people, like, what do I post? How do I figure this out? Like, what do I post every day? So there are obviously different types of posts. You can post, a promotion. You can post about your location. You can post about things around town, activities, events. You can post about anything you want. I do suggest that to keep kind of people informed, you post, kind of figure out your 3 to 5 categories that work the best for you. So, in the travel industry, you'll probably want to consider, you definitely want to post about your room or unit, and, what your location is. You'll probably want to post like the things around town, like great restaurants, events that are happening, your around town stuff. And then you'll want to post like how you treat your guests, probably your services, those kinds of things. People want to know you. You can throw in some personal things there too. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in the stories. Your feed is a little bit more on the curated side. Like, these are the things that you really thought about. It's high quality photos. You've thought about the post. It's almost kind of writing a short blog in a sense about your place. So it's a little bit more curated because if somebody landed on it, they wouldn't want to see a whole bunch of photos of your kids playing basketball. Doesn't tell me anything about your unit. The point is I want to know about your unit because I might want to book there one day. Your kid playing basketball is great. I'm happy for you, but why would I book that? I'm not booking your kid playing basketball at my house. So it's very curated and thought out, and planned out. Your frequency on that, a lot of people ask this all the time. How many times a day are you supposed to post? Every platform is different. Facebook is different from Twitter, from LinkedIn. It's all different. All of them are different, and there's really no science to it, to be honest. It really kind of comes down to what feels good for you. But what I am hearing from a lot of the experts out there is that you should post probably once per day at 5 to 7 times a week. So you don't necessarily need to post every single day, but quite frequently, but you don't need to post multiple times a day. And the reason for that is your Instagram post in the feed lives longer than most posts, say, on Twitter or on Facebook. It just has a longer lifespan, if you want to say it that way, within the algorithm on the feed. So I normally recommend once per day. You can kind of find from your analytics that I talked about in your business account on the times a day that your audience is most on Instagram and looking at stuff, so that you have the most opportunity to get in front of them right away. But even that's not really a science. I've tested early in the morning, in the afternoon, late in the evening. It's all very different because the life of it and the way the algorithm works can what's the word I'm looking for? Vary. Like you could post, I could post right now and get a like 2 days from now because it showed up in somebody's feed 2 days from now. It just is the way the algorithm works and how people are interacting. But I will say you want to kind of stick with times that are good for you. I find sometimes very early in the morning, people will be on their Instagram kind of right before work, when they're taking a minute to kind of get themselves together. They have a minute before getting things started. Early in the morning will work. And then I also find later in the afternoons, like between 4 and 7 work really well. Um, I talked a little bit about your images. They have to be high quality, definitely bright. People on Instagram really like light, bright, white images. Um, while we all have really great cell phones, and we have a post on Bookfull about some pro photography tips if you want those. Um, there are ways to take really great photos on your phone, and some really great editing tools out there that can help you for free with your phone images. These images do need to be high quality, clear, and bright. Generally, your settings on your phone tend to be kind of yellow and dark, partly because our lights in our units are light bulbs, which is a yellow light. So bringing up the brightness on your photos definitely will help counteract that. And then if you get an editing app, you can go in and adjust the exposure and tone down some of that yellow on your photos. Some of our phone cameras here lately have such great cameras. You can take a great picture if it's composed right, and then you edit it to kind of get out that dark and yellowness. The other important piece to post is hashtags. So I could teach a whole other hour course on hashtags itself, but hashtags actually are very relevant in Instagram. They're used for searching. Sometimes they're also used just as fun little quips, hashtag sorry, not sorry, those kinds of things. While those are phenomenal, I love those within posts. It kind of makes for a nice, funny little post. There are so many posts on that. You'll get lost in all of the people that are using that hashtag. So picking your hashtags is a whole nother art in itself, and we can get into that more and on another day where we can really talk about hashtags. But on Instagram, you can use up to 30 hashtags in your post. I'm hearing different people talk about hashtags as to, should you use all 30? Should you switch them up every post? How does the algorithm, work with hashtags? So my philosophy on hashtags is, if you can pick out your 30 that you really are relevant to you, break them up into maybe 2 or 3 groups of, 15 or 10, use those. You can switch them up that way. But you do want to use as many hashtags as you can. I do find I don't necessarily like to use all 30 with my standard hashtags per post, because then I don't have the opportunity to add funny little quips if I need to, hashtag sorry, not sorry. So I kind of tend to do maybe 25, 28, so that if I want to add a hashtag for, Happy Champagne Thursday or whatever that might be, I can, and it's not in my normal list of hashtags. And you can post those hashtags either in the caption of your post or as the first comment. Either one is perfectly fine. There's no real statistics that I have found where one is better than the other for your engagement or showing up in people's feeds. So either one's perfectly fine. It's personal preference for you. I tend to put them in my caption just because I use a scheduler, and then I can have it just all scheduled there, and I don't have to go back. We can post, and I don't have to do anything more to add it to that first comment when it does post. So that tends to be a usability issue for me more than anything else. But hashtags definitely are very relevant. There are some tools out there that can help you find different hashtags. In our space, vacation rentals is a popular hashtag. Probably some location-based stuff to your location would be good hashtags for you and your brand and your business. And things that are travel and experience related, those kinds of hashtags would be great for any one of our hospitality industry people. So next we have stories. And so with stories, so stories are that little spot at the top where it's a little 15-second video almost. Some people put images in there that you see for 15 seconds, but you have 15 seconds. That little carousel at the top, we're just in the last, say, year finding that about 40% of Instagram users will click on those and go through stories and not even look at their feed. So stories have become very important within the Instagram world because of this, because people are engaging with stories. And so I always tell people with Instagram, your feed is kind of your very polished side. It is the public side that you want people to see. It's beautiful photos, curated content. You've thought about it, you've posted it. These are things, your call to actions, what you want people to do, how you're going to tell people about your business. Your stories, on the other hand, only live for 24 hours. So you kind of use your stories as the behind the scenes. So this is where you can do a quick video, a quick photo, and just show off the behind the scenes of your property, what it looks like that day, what you're doing that day. Even if you want to post those great pictures of your kids at their basketball game, this is the spot to do that. It doesn't always have to be a video. It can be just a photo. That's perfectly fine. People do that all the time. It'll last for a few seconds and then it'll move on to the next. Your stories only live for 24 hours. So within that carousel, your story is for 24 hours. The algorithm on that, there is an algorithm to it, but because they only live for 24 hours, they tend to be a little bit more chronological. So the people you engage with a lot on your stories are who show up the first in your carousel at the top of your feed. So that it's based on who engages with me and watches my stories a lot, and chronological, which your feed is not. It is an algorithm now. And a lot of people are engaging with stories because they like the chronologicalness of it. There was such a big hype about when they got rid of the chronological order. People hated it. When you're following 4,000 people, chronological is hard to do. So Instagram wants to get you the content you want to see. Hence why stories is a little bit more on the chronological end. But people are engaging with stories. There's a lot to it. So with stories, there are a couple of options here. You can add a link, which is that swipe up. If you've ever, watched any Instagram stories, some of them will say swipe up here and it goes to, whatever they're promoting, or link to their site or their blog, or if they're selling something, a link to their product. To get that, you have to have 10,000 followers. So in the meantime, you don't have that, but you can link to your IGTV. So I have a little hack on that, and I'll talk about that when we get to IGTV because it's a little bit different as well. But with that, you can also say in your stories, link in bio if you don't have 10,000 followers, and drive people to your profile, and then they can click in your bio to get to your link. And really, it's okay to do that because so many people are used to that in Instagram. We all know we only have one link in Instagram, and that's okay. So that's how you get links. Instagram also has filters and stickers. So they needed to catch up with Snapchat on the filters, and so they created all of these different filters. You can also brand them. That gets into a little bit whole another thing about creating your own filters and branding them to you. But a lot of people use really cute and funny different stickers and emojis on their photos and their videos and stories, and that's kind of what makes stories so much fun for people, is little animated GIFs, those kinds of things, when you're talking about stuff throughout your day or on your property. So stickers actually are a really great way to bring out some of your personality and get people to engage with you in some ways. Now, with your stories, they do only last 24 hours. But if you want people to watch your stories that are very relevant to you or to your property, and show some great sides of your properties, you can save them to your highlights. So your stories will always go to your archive so you can see them. But if you want other people to see them beyond the 24 hours, you can add them to your highlights. So your highlights actually are, I'm going to go, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go back to here. So you can see right here, let me hit play real quick. You can see here, your highlights are those little circles underneath each one of these. So that's a highlight. So they've taken their story and they've added it to that highlight, and you can categorize them. So you can have your highlights for, the yard if you have a beautiful yard, or, the unit itself, different tours that you've done. You can do a lot of different highlights there. They're a really great way to get your Instagram stories and have them live longer than that 24 hours. So that's a good option for that. So the Instagram stories have become extremely popular with people because so many people are engaging with them. So let's move on to IGTV. So IGTV is fairly new to Instagram. It's only been there a year, year and a half-ish. It is basically their version of YouTube. So this is where you can do longer videos, anywhere from 60 seconds to 10 minutes. You can get up to an hour if you are verified with Instagram. That's a whole nother animal of getting verified, but you can get verified and you can get up to 60 minutes. But for right now, everything is 60 seconds to 10 minutes. And honestly, unless you're producing a show, 10 minutes is plenty fine for people. I'm finding for me, people drop off about at the 3-minute mark. Our attention spans are just so short. Unless your content is absolutely phenomenal and it's something I want to learn about for 10 minutes, then you have a little bit longer. But most people drop off around 3 minutes. The types of things that you can post on IGTV, you can showcase tours of your property and different activities around your area, do little promos for events or promotions that you have. You can get a preview, a 60-second preview in your feed. So if you post to IGTV a video, you go in and you put in your title and you put in your description. And in your description, you can actually link to your website. You can type in that link and people can click it. So that's another little way of getting another link into your people. But then at the very end, when you go to post, you can say share on my feed. So you can take that first 60 seconds and share it on your feed. And then the cover is what shows up on your profile, down in your in your posts. The cover is the still image basically that sits on top of that 60 seconds. When it is in people's feed and it comes up, very quickly they see the cover and then it just starts playing, and then there's a little icon that says, watch the rest of it in IGTV, and then you click it and it goes over to your IGTV video. So you can put it in your feed. I highly recommend putting it in your feed. That's a better way of getting engagement on your videos because then your audience there is seeing that you have an IGTV video. You can also post them to Facebook in the same spot that you can post to your feed. You can also post that video to your Facebook page. The one thing I will say is, when you're posting to your feed, the title of your video is the caption in the feed. The description does not show up. I have to actually click over to the video to see that description. On Facebook, on the other hand, is the title doesn't go over at all. The caption you have is what goes with the video on Facebook. I learned this the hard way. So both of them need to be, I keep the title, short and sweet as to what the title is, but also put it in your caption as well, or reiterate it in your caption. The other thing is on Instagram, on IGTV, everything is vertical. So you'll want to video because Instagram is all phone based. You can do a few little things through desktop with them, but everything's really phone based. You're gonna video with your phone and you're gonna have it vertical like this. It will not, if you do it horizontal like this, you're gonna have to take your video and edit it and format it so that it's vertical. Or put it on your caption that people need to turn it to the side. Honestly, people find that annoying. So just film vertically if that's really what you want to do if you're going to stick with IGTV. And really, both Facebook and YouTube are supporting those vertical videos now. So I think we're going to start seeing people gravitate towards vertical video for just about everything because we're so mobile. Everybody's on their phone doing everything. Some people, I do this. I work on my phone. When I don't have my computer, I work on my phone quite a bit. Everything's got an app that syncs to my phone too. Why not? So filming vertically is probably a transition we're going to start seeing in a lot of things just because of our mobile platforms. So you do need to do your IGTV vertically or edit it so that a horizontal video now is vertical and people can still see it. IGTV has a couple of little quirks too. I tend to, with IGTV, if I've posted an IGTV video, I post it to my feed with a nice little cover, great caption. When it's on my feed, then I can share my post from my feed to my stories. And then in my stories, I can link the story to my IGTV video. So it's all still housed within Instagram, but you're moving people, you're catching people on the IGTV platform, on the stories platform, and on your feed, so that you're hitting all of those spots that you need to with that video when you want it to get to everybody in your Instagram world. So you can link to any of your IGTV videos in your stories. So if you're doing a story and you link to your IGTV and they go to your IGTV, then they have a link in that description if you want them to. It's a little bit more clicks for people, but it is a way to get a link in front of them in your stories if you don't have that 10,000 followers. So it's kind of up to you and your strategy on that. People will click through, but it is more clicks, and they get tired of a lot of clicks. So I will kind of say that for a lot of people. But IGTV is that video piece. We're starting to see in the marketing world video it's always been important, but it's really also starting to get even more important. And it's really starting to get more important on Instagram. When Instagram first started, you can post 60 seconds or less straight to your feed. And we weren't seeing too much video because it was 60 seconds. It was really hard to get, good messages in 60 seconds. When people are scrolling through. But now that they have IGTV and it's really starting to integrate more, videos becoming much more important on Instagram and on all social platforms and digital media. So video is definitely something to consider. But Instagram is here to stay for sure. And so I'm going to wrap this up because I didn't want to keep you guys too long today. This is really kind of the basics of Instagram. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more strategy to it. There's a lot more things to think about. But the one thing I definitely want to get across is that Instagram is here to stay. We didn't dive into any Instagram ads, a whole other topic of conversation, but you can advertise on Instagram. Your people are on Instagram. Travelers are on Instagram. And so this is a place for you to be able to capture those people or get in front of them at least, so that you can hopefully drive a direct booking from them. Be in front of them. Make them want to come stay at your place. Make them look at your photos and your videos and go, crap, on my next vacation, I want to go there. And so when you're top of mind like that and you drive them to your book now, that's a really nice direct booking right there, just from posting on social media. But the one thing to keep in mind is that on social media, people don't want to be sold to all the time. There's a nice 80-20 rule. Like, you need to just say, we're here. You want to be top of mind, but you don't always want to be selling. You want them to engage with you so that you're always in the forefront of their brain for when they do go to book their travel. And then 20% of your posts actually are a call to action to book now, to actually sell your vacation home. So there's a nice balance there. Good 80-20 rule. You hear that all the time in all of marketing. 80-20. 80% engagement, 20% selling. Works on Instagram here too. Works exactly the same way. People want to be engaged with, they want to learn, but they don't always want to be sold to. So it's a nice subtle sell. But you are engaging with your travelers. They are there. They are planning their trips on Instagram. Instagram also has collections. I know I use this for travel. When I see a place that I'm like, oh, that would be fun to go to, I save it to my collections. So I save it to a collection, and then they use that collection to plan travel and to book. So those are the kinds of engaging pieces of content you want them to see. That they go, I want to collect this and put this in an album for later. And then they come back to that, and that's when they'll book. So definitely I would get on Instagram. We're going to talk a lot more about Instagram in the future here at Bookfull, just because it is a platform where travelers are, and teaching you guys on how to use that and how to utilize it to the best of your ability is definitely beneficial for you. It is for us as well. So Instagram's a great platform. I'm very passionate about Instagram. I love it. I love the visualness of it. I use it a lot for myself. It's really... I still am on most platforms, but it's the one I use the most personally. So I encourage everybody to get on Instagram and start to play with it, start playing with it. It's all trial and error for everybody. I can give you some really great strategies and tips, but you can only find out what works for you. We're going to talk a lot more about a couple, more in-depth pieces of it, schedulers, stories, feeds, IGTV, all of that stuff in later tutorials. I might even hold a masterclass on Instagram if you guys are interested, so stay tuned for that. But if you have any questions about Instagram or anything about Bookfull or great strategies to market to your travelers better, just feel free to reach out to any one of us on the Bookfull team. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. So come check us out and reach out if you have questions or you want to know some ideas or strategies, or just chat for a few minutes. Hit us up at bookfull.com. We're happy to help. You can contact me at ronnie@bookfull.com, and I will definitely talk to you guys later, and you'll hear more from me on Instagram and a few other social media platforms. So have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something really great. And until next time, thanks.